Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I've got a couple of things I want to talk about today. And one of them is, I've seen a lot of people, a bit worried if they don't practice witchcraft every day, it means they're not a witch. That's not true. Of course you are. You are a witch. You don't have to practice witchcraft every single day. Having said that, I do tend to have, my protections up all the time, at all times. You can do those for the short term or the long term. It's up to you. There are many different ways of putting up your protections and things like that. Also, cleansing. I do cleanse regularly. That's also quite important in witchcraft. Well, for me anyway. Everybody is different in witchcraft. That's another thing we need to remember, is everybody's different. Everybody practices differently. Everyone's path is different. So we need to respect that from the beginning. I cleanse everything regularly. My protections are up. But as for things like, doing spells and rituals and things like that, I tend to only do them when I feel the call or the need to. I usually know. You have an inner knowing when a spell or a working needs to be manifested or taking place. Well, I certainly do, and I always go with that. But sometimes I can go a week, or 2 weeks without doing any of that. Sometimes a month will go by and I haven't done any spells. Longer than that for spells, to be honest. I don't go around casting spells constantly. Like I say, only when I feel the need to. I just get an inner knowing, like a calling to go and do that. But of course, it's up to you. You can do it as often or as little as you like. But I'm just talking here for the people who feel, I'm not a proper witch if I don't practice every day and all that jazz. Well, you are. Like I say, I can go a month or even sometimes 2 months, without doing any spells of any kind. I do my certain things like, I always think stirring intentions into things, little things like that. You don't have to go mad. Stir your intention into your morning coffee, or into a soup or a stew or something you're making, casserole, sitting in nature, meditation. There's little things like that. But even then, if you don't do that, if you don't do anything at all for however amount of time it is, you're still a witch. That is not going to come. That's not going to be taken away from you at any given time. Once you practice witchcraft, you consider yourself a witch. You call yourself a witch. Sorry, my hair's getting on my nerves. Then you are a witch. So there's no saying that you have to do this and you have to do that. Otherwise, you're not good enough, or you're not powerful enough. Your power's going to drop. This, that. Certain things like I commune with spirit. And I find the more I do that, I find that my third eye obviously is like a muscle, and the more I use it, the stronger it becomes. But then that's down to, again, totally up to you on how often and how little you do it. Nothing's going to go away unless you personally decide not to do it anymore and you move away from it. So don't pressure yourselves into thinking, well, I haven't done a spell today. Oh no, I haven't done this, ritual today. Oh no, it must mean that I'm not a witch anymore. No, you are. Even journaling, small things like journaling is and it gives you a little, I think journaling is just very good for you generally in any way anyway. So something like that, stirring your intentions, journaling, that kind of a thing. So don't ever feel like you're, failing as a witch or anything like that just because you haven't done a working in like a week or 2 or a month, or even a year or so. If you're still on that path and you're still with that belief and that faith and everything, and that is your way, you're still a witch, okay? And don't let people, try to deter you and say you're not, because everybody, again, like I said at the start, is different, and everybody is on their own journey. So always remember that and stick to that, because it's, at the end of the day, it's your intention. It's totally your path. So just stick with that. The other thing I was going to say before I quickly go is, you also don't need to have an absolute abundant amount of any kind of tool to work your witchcraft. For me, witchcraft, and I think for a lot of witches, I don't speak for anybody, but I feel as though it's intention. If you have the will and the intention, you can manifest anything. You don't need crystals, although they are aesthetic, and also crystals are very powerful. Let's not forget that. So they do enhance your working. They can amplify it. A wand, for instance, you don't have to have a wand. You don't have to have any tools. But for me, I do tend to use a wand just because I have a Rowan wand, and it's just, I feel it's energy, and I love the energy of the wand, and I love working with it. Crystals I do tend to use, but you don't have to. You don't need any of the tools that people seem to say, well, you must have this, you must have that. You don't need anything. I was in a house fire at my old house back in April, and I used to have I have got a big altar, which I've had to move to a smaller place whilst our house has been fixed. And I haven't been able to put my altar up. So I've just have a small altar set up on this table here, which consists of a cloth, a handmade broom, which was kindly gifted to me at a Witchcraft fair recently, some crystals, some crystals on there, a little bell, and some a little protection bottle that I have, that I made, a spell that I did myself, a little small amulet that I keep on there. And you don't have to have everything. It's taught me that. And because I'm a divination witch, I work with spirit, I found it that being here in this small house, little stopgap we're in, this beautiful, lovely little house, I've been working more with my third eye and my crown chakras, my crown chakra and my other chakras. I've been doing more meditation. I've been doing more inner work. And that is using basically no tools at all, because all my tools are packed away right now, apart from this small altar, which is just as significant, that I have here on this table. But it's not. It just goes to show that you don't need everything that some people, not all people, some people might say you need. You really, really don't. You only need yourself, your intention, and your will, and your focus. And go within, work within. First, I find that does help before you even begin to do spirit spells and rituals. That really does help if you can do some inner work first. So I hope this has helped. I'm going to pull, one angel guides card just for a little message for the day before I quickly go. Okay, let's take this one. Okay, shadow, yes. Shadow work. Okay, so that's what I was saying about going within. So maybe some of you here need to do some shadow work, or this is just confirmation of what I was saying earlier. Go within, do some shadow work. If you haven't got all the tools, you don't necessarily need them for shadow work, especially. I feel there's people out here need to hear this. It's about going within. Meditation. There's different types of meditation you can do. There are so many different types. You don't have to do the standard sitting in a certain position, listening to certain music, listening to no music. You can do so many different types. I've just started meditating with my tarot cards one by one, and that is just so amazing to do. Just small things you can do. You don't need to be doing spells and rituals every single day, deep, big spells and rituals, and you don't need all the tools in the book. So, again, it's your path, and I'm not telling you what to do in any way. I'm just giving you some of what I've learned on my path. So, yeah, maybe some shadow work would be good for you right now. And let's see how you get on. And let me know in the comments below how you get on with this, how you feel about this. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And have a great weekend, of course. Have a witchy weekend. But you don't need tools, and you don't need to do spells and rituals all the time. Okay, have a good one, guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.